Hello and welcome to this continuing first look exploring session looking at A Satire of the Three Estates by Sir David Lindsay. We are midway through part one. It's a game of two halves, or two parts, and we're halfway through the first one. We've finished the introductory advertising. We're into the main feature, and we're in a sort of moral interlude kind of country here, and quite literally in more ways than one. And we are moving forward. Just a general warning that yes, there's some language which is above and beyond the call of duty. If you are troubled by highly sexual language, then walk away now. Just walk away. I think this session we may be through the most extreme versions of things, but we survived last time with our souls intact, so I'm sure we'll be fine for this time. Reading today as we continue our way through this epic beast of a script. Reading Solace, Falset, and Prioress is
Lois Potter in London.
Reading Deceit, Diligence, Sowtar, Placebo is...
Hi, I'm Eric, and I will be very deceitful this afternoon. Not like I'm deceitful any other day. I mean, just saying, maybe.
Yes, but Eric, how would... If you're being deceitful, was that true? And we'll move on. Alan, reading Flattery, Chastity, and Correction is...
Yes, Alan, based in Suffolk, and very confused already.
Reading Danger, Verity, Abbot, Taylor's Wife, and Sensuality is...
Steve Longstaffe in the northwest of England. Looking forward tomorrow when I shall be playing Rum, Sodomy, and the Lash.
Reading Wantonness, Good-counsel, and Varlet is...
Sarah Blake, actor, writer, and director in Germany.
Reading Hameliness, Persone, possibly Parson, and Jenny is...
Hi, my name's Elizabeth Amisu, and I'm an author based in Romford.
And reading Rex Humanitas, the sort of central figure in this drama, as well as Spirituality and Taylor is...
Hello, my name is Lynn. I'm a teacher, and I live in the northwestern United States.
And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I will be reading stage directions and generally moving things forward. As I say, there aren't particularly helpful things like properly navigatable scenes to work from. So we've gone from one sort of area of action to another. We've just had Deceit, Flattery, and Falset changing their names. If you're playing along with Interlude Bingo, you will have just marked your card with disguises and or name changes by various characters. So Deceit, Flattery, and Falset have all given themselves new names so that they can infiltrate the court and do evil things. Meanwhile, the king has come out of his chamber and has been spotted by Deceit. The king has been having some fun, possibly, or at least the lower limits of fun with Wantonness and Sensuality and all sorts of vaguely sinful characters. And we're going to take up the cudgels with Rex Humanitas as they re-enter the primary performance space.
Now, where is Placebo and Solace? Where is my minion Wantonness? Wantonness, how? Come to me soon.
Why, cry it, ye sir, till I had done.
What was he do? Tell me that.
Marry, leering how my father me got. I wait not how it stands, but doubt. Methink the world runs round about.
And so think, I man by my thrift, I see 15 moons in the lift.
Let Homeliness, my lass, alone. She banded up, I, 2 for 1.
Got ye not that which ye desired? Sir, I believe that ye are tired.
As for Placebo and Solace, I held them both in merriness. Albeit I made it something tough, I find them chamber glow enough.
Mary, thou would gar 100 tire. Thou hast a cunt like a quagmire.
Oh, now foul fall you. It is no boards before a king to speak foul words. Ever ye come to that gate again to kiss my cloth, ye shall be fain.
Now show me, sir, I you exhort, how are ye of your love content? Think ye not this a merry sport?
Yea, that I do, in veriment. What bairns are yon upon the bent? I did not see them all this day.
They will be here incontinent. Stand still and hear what they will say.
And now the vices come and make salutation, saying,
Lord, honor, glory, triumph, and victory be to your most excellent majesty.
You're welcome, good friends by the rood. Appearingly ye seem some men of good. What are your names? Tell me without delay.
Discretion, sir, is my name perfect.
What is your name? With a clip. With the clip it crown.
But doubt, my name is called Devotion.
Welcome, Devotion, by St. James. Now, sirrah, tell me what is your name?
Marry, sir, they call me... What call they me?
Can ye not tell what is your name?
I kenned it when I came from hame.
What gars ye cannot show it now?
Mary, they call me Thin Drink, I trow.
Thin Drink, what kind of name is that?
Sapiens, thou serves the Baron Platt. Methink thou shows thee not well wit.
Sapiens, Sir Sapiens. Mary, now ye hit it.
Sir, if it please to let him say, his name is Sapientia.
That same is it, by Saint Michael.
Why could ye not tell it thyself?
I pray your grace a pardon me, and I shall show the verity. I am so full of sapience that sometime I will take a trance. My spirit was rest from my body, now high above the Trinity.
Sapience should be a man of good.
Sir, ye may ken that by my hood.
Now have I sapience and discretion. How can I fail to rule this region? And devotion to be my confessor, There 3 came in an happy hour. Here I make my secretary, and thou shalt be my treasurer, and thou shalt be my counselor in spiritual things and confessor.
I swear to you, sir, by St. Anne, you mean met never with unwiser man. For many a craft, sir, do I can, were they well known in. Sir, I have no feel of flattery, but fostered with philosophy, and strange man in astronomy, which shall be shown.
And I have great intelligence in quelling of the quintessence. But to prove my experience, sir, lend me 40 crowns to make multiplication, and take my obligation. If we make false narration, hold us for very lounds.
Sir, I ken by your physiognomy ye shall conquer, or else I lie. Daneskin, Denmark, and Almain, Spitalfield, and the realm of Spain. Ye shall have at your governance. Ranfrau, and all the realm of France. Yea, Rugland, and the town of Rome, Castorphin, and all Christendom. Where to, sir, by the Trinity, ye are in very aprity.
Sir, when I dwelt in Italy, I learned the craft of palmistry. Show me the loof, sir, of your hand, and I shall guide you understand if your grace be unfortunate, or if you be predestinate. I see you will have 15 queens, and 15 score of concubines. The Virgin Mary save your grace, saw ever man so white an face, so great an arm, so fair an hand. There's not such a leg in all this land. Were ye in arms, I think no wonder, howbeit ye dang down 1500.
Now, by my soul, that's true, thou says, was never man said so well as Clays. There is no man in Christianity so meet to be a king as ye.
Sir, thank the Holy Trinity that sent us to your company. For God, nor I gape in a gallows, for ever ye found 3 better fellows.
Ye are right welcome by the rood. Ye seem to be 3 men of good.
But here shall Good-counsel show himself in the field.
But who is yon that stands so still? Go spy and ask what is his will, and if he yearns for my presence, bring him to me with diligence.
That shall we do, by God's bread. We'll bring him either quick or dead.
I will sit here and repose. Speed you again to me, my joys.
Yea, hardly, sir. Keep you in cloys and quiet till we come again. Brother, I trow by cock's toes, yon bearded bogle comes frae and train.
If he does so, he shall be slain. I doubt him not, nor yet another. Trow it I that he come for and train of my friends, I should raise them further.
I doubt full sore by God himself that you, old churl, be good counsel. Get he once to the king's presence, we three will get no audience.
That matter I shall take on hand, and say it is the king's command that he anon devoid this place and come not near the king's grace, and that under the pain of treason.
Brother, I hold your counsel reason. Now let us hear what he will say. Old light beard, good day, good day.
Good day again, sirs. By the rood, the Lord mot make you men of good.
Pray not for us the Lord nor lady, for we are men of good already. Sir, show to us what is your name.
Good-counsel they call me at home.
What sayst thou, churl? Art thou good counsel? Swift pack thee soon, unhappy unsell. If ever thou come this gate again, I vow to God thou shalt be slain.
I pray you, sirs, give me license to come once to the king's presence, to speak but 2 words to his grace.
Swift horse and churl, devoid this place.
Brother, I ken you well enough. Howbeit ye make it never so tough, flattery, deceit, and false report, that will not suffer to resort good counsel to the king's presence.
With horse and trill gang pack thee hence. If ever thou come this gate again, I vow to God thou shalt be slain.
Good counsel.
Yeah, I was waiting for the
Stage direction.
the stage direction.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's a repeated line. I was looking on a different part of the page. Here shall they hurl away, good counsel hurled.
Oh, since at this time I can get no presents, is no remedy but take in patience. Howbeit good counsel hastily not hard with young princes, yet should they not be scared. But when youth has blown his wanton blast, then shall good counsel rule him at the last.
Now the vices gangs to a council.
Now, while good counsel is absent, brother, we mun be diligent, and make betwixt us sicker bands, when vacants fall in any lands, that every man help well his fellow.
And dear brother, be all hallow, so ye fish not within our bounds.
That shall I not by God's wounds, but I shall plainly take your parts.
Oh, so shall we thine with all our hearts. But haste us while the king is young. Let every man keep well ain tongue, and in ilk quarter have a spy us, till advertise hastily when any casualities shall happen unto our countries. And let us make provision, or he come to discretion. No more he waits now, nor any sant, what thing it is to have or want. Ere he come to his perfect age, we shall be sicker of our wage, and then let every churl crave other.
That mouth speak more, my own dear brother, for God nor I racks it and racked. Thou may give counsel to the Pope.
Now they return to the king.
What gart you bide so long from my presence? I think it long since ye departed thence. What man was yon, with a great boisterous beard? Methought he made you all 3 very feared.
It was unladly Lurden Lown, come to break breeds into this town. We guard him bind him a pole and send him to the thieves' hole.
Let him sit there within mischance, and let us go to our pastance.
Better go revel at the racket, or else go to the Hurley Hacket. And then, to show our courtly courses, guess who best can run their horses?
Nay, sovereign, ere we farther gang, gar sensuality sing and sang.
And here shall the ladies sing a song, and the king shall lie down among the ladies. And there we will pause. So, yeah. I mean, this actually demonstrates a really important element of a sort of court setup, is that those who have control of who has access to the king has an enormous amount of power. So in this situation, Flattery, Deceit, and Falset are able to just throw out Good-counsel who's trying to return to court, and they're just and so he can't. And the king knows nothing. Who was it? Oh, it's just some guy just broke in. We just chucked him out. And the king is therefore has no idea. The wrongs that might be going on here. And from Lois's point the other day when we were talking about that sort of artificial sense of haste, I like here is hurry up, the king's growing up. We've got to steal as much from the country before he learns to be wise, because he'll grow up and all our fun will end. Thoughts in the room about this little section as we sort of get back into the groove, and those who are new to the play sort of get a sense of what the hell's going on. Lynn.
Yeah, I don't know that we're in danger of the king becoming very wise very soon. I mean, like, why can't you think of your own name? I was in a trance. Yeah, that's it. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, comedy business of them having decided to give themselves new names. The Vices can't remember what the names are. And there's a similar sort of business in Res Publica as well, actually, which is, again, not about the same time as this. They don't do it in front of anyone, I think, but they spend quite a long time trying to rehearse remembering each other's names, and they keep getting it wrong. So, it feels like this is in the area of sort of known business or borrowed business from whichever direction it's going in. Eric.
The whole palmistry business was like very, very much like the play we read last week. I was like, what is there? Is there a theme here? Something is quite just sort of swiping in to tell the future. Yes.
Yeah, you will have 15 queens and 15 score of concubines. They are very much. The king is very much in that frame of mind, as we discovered at the beginning about the description of what was going on off stage earlier was quite explicit. Yes, very blokey, shall we say. The reactions from the room was sort of what we kind of expect. Any thoughts? Stephen?
Just following on from a point that Alan made in the chat about an English historical play. This is kind of abstract, but it is also, history, isn't it? I mean, it's England and Scotland. They're only about as far away from Henry VI as we are from the Victorians. And there's this whole kind of, and before that, Richard II, the misruled king, and there must be other examples too. So it's quite strange, really. You don't need to be beaten over the head with this sort of stuff, do you? Because everybody's kind of going to know it. So it's a strange sort of double vision it's giving me. That, while it is resolutely sort of abstract, I can't help thinking of history.
Lois.
Yeah, the business of royal favorites. I think just about every court probably had them. I mean, it was a kind of recognized position, in fact. And there's going to be a lot of it later. I mean, James VI, his council, some of the older lairds got him to send into exile his best friend, very much as happens, of course, with Gaveston under Edward II. I mean, I think it goes back a long way, really, this kind of situation.
And the use of word minion as well, actually, it has parallels with Edward and Thomas of Woodstock and a few other plays that are dealing on that sort of thing. So it's interesting to see it in a play this early, actually. I think it's the earliest one where we've got minion being used perhaps in that way. I'm not sure. Yeah. I could be wrong on that point.
Of course, you've read Magnificence, haven't you? Where,
yes.
Again, the same thing happens, really. That's an earlier version of what happens in Res Publica.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. You're always seeing sort of variations on a theme with these plays, doing them in different ways. Elizabeth.
I was quite surprised to see the C word in there. It kind of jumped out at me. I was thinking that we need we need to put it in our early modern bingo. Early modern swear words.
Well,
and I was wondering if it had been if this play was full of swears.
Yeah, it was full of swears from very much the very opening.
Okay.
You know, this is not the first time it appeared. It's the way it's more shocking actually the way it is used in the description of Quagmire that then follows that is used there. I mean, these are blokes being really quite horrible, and it's very it's very effective in that sort of painting of that sort of blokey culture in that sense. It was used in a much more relatively neutral but descriptive way. I don't think you could call it neutral, but it was discussing a chastity belt and what was contained therein. That's how it appeared earlier as a term, whereas here it's doing a very different thing. And that term, I found them chamber glow enough. Post coitus is sort of what that's talking about. So yeah, there's a lot more actually quite rude stuff in there that you might not actually have quite gathered from the language as it all leapt out. Other thoughts? Anyone want to leap in on there? I get the impression nobody wants to. Strange that. I can't imagine why. Eric, are you wanting to take the plunge?
I was just enjoying. Sorry, I was just going to go back to the whole renaming thing of sort of where I just like to imagine that it's like they've written their name on their palm and they've been doing handshakes and dancing and sweating, so it's rubbed off. So, Sapiens is like, I can't read it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that sort of that thing of having to be reminded by other people. It's good comedy business. It's good comedy business. You know, it obviously works because people do it a reasonable number of times. Okay. Any more? Otherwise, we will be introduced or reintroduced. I can't remember. I don't think have we met Verity before. I don't think we have. I could be wrong on that front. So, King's having a lie down with some ladies while they sing. Meanwhile, Verity shall enter.
Diligite justitiam qui indicatis terram. Love justice ye who has and judges cure. In earth and dread the awful judgment of him that shall come judge, both rich and poor, pure. Right terribly with bloody wounds rent, that dreadful day into your hearts imprint, believing well how and what manner ye use justice here to others. There at length that day but doubt so shall ye judged be. Woe then, and 'twill be to you, princes all, suffering the pure ones for to be oppressed. In everlasting burning fire ye shall with Lucifer right dolefully be dressed. Therefore in time for to escape that nest, fear God, do law and justice equally to every man. See that no poor oppressed up to the heaven on you and vengeance cry. Be just judges without favour or feed, and hold the balance even to every wight. Let not the fault be left into the head, then shall the members ruled be at right. For why subjects do follow day and night their governors in virtue and in vice. Ye are the lamps that should show them the light. Lo, lead them on this slidery road of ice. Mobili mutator semper come principe vulgus. And if ye would your subjects were well given, then virtuously begin the dance yourself. Going before, then they anon, I ween, shall follow you, either to heaven or hell. Kings should of good examples be the well, But if that your strands be intoxicate, instead of wine they drink the poison fell. Thus people follows I their principate. Sic luceat lux vestra coram and omnibus, ut vidiant opera vestra bona. And specially ye princes of the priests, that if people have spiritual cure, daily ye should revolve into your breasts how that these holy words are still most sure in virtuous life, if that ye do endure. The people will take more tent to your deeds than to your words. And as both rich and poor will follow you, both in your works and words.
Here shall Flattery spy Verity with a dumb countenance.
Enemy would have intelligence, or know my name, then call me Verity. Of Christ's law I have experience, and has oversailed many stormy sea. Now am I seeking King Humanity, for of his grace I have good esperance. From time that he acquainted be with me, his honour and high glory I shall advance.
And here shall Verity pass to her seat.
Hey, Father, where have you been? Declare to us of your news.
There is now lighted on the green Dame Verity by books and bells. But comes she to the Queen's presence, there is no boot for us to bide. Therefore I rede us all go hence.
Oh, that will we not yet, by Saint Bride, but we shall either gang or ride to lords of spirituality, and gar them trow yon bag of pride has spoken manifest heresy.
And here they come to the spirituality.
O reverend fathers of the spiritual state, we counsel you be wise and vigilant. Dame Verity has lighted now of late, and in her hand bearing the New Testament. Be she received, but doubt we are but shent. Let her not judge therefore into this land, and we read you do incontinent. Now, while the king is with his love sleep hand.
We thank you, friends, of your benevolence. It shall be done, even as you have devised. We think ye serve an goodly recompense, defending us that we be not surprised. In this manner we man be well advised. Now, while the king misknows the verity, and she received then will be despised. What is your counsel, brother? Now let's see.
I hold it best that we incontinent gar hold her fast into captivity unto the 3rd day of the Parliament, and then accuse her of her heresy, or then banish her out of this country. For if with the king, if verity be known, of our great glory we will degraded be, and all our secrets to the commons shown.
Ye see the king is yet effeminate, and guided by Dame Sensuality. Right so with young counsel intoxicate. Swear at this time ye have your liberty. To take your time I hold it best for me, and go destroy all these Lutherians, in special yon lady Verity.
Sir Persone, ye shall be my commissar to put this matter to execution. And ye, Sir Friar, because ye can declare the hale process, pass with him in commission. Pass altogether with my braid benison. And if she speaks against our liberty, then put her in perpetual prison, that she come not to King Humanity.
And here shall they pass to Verity.
Lusty lady, we would fain understand what errand ye have in this region, to preach or teach who gave to you command, to counsel kings how got ye commission. I dread without ye get an remission, and sign renounce your new opinions. The spiritual state shall put you to perdition, and in the fire will burn you flesh and bones.
I will recant nothing that I have shown. I have said nothing but the verity. But with the king, for our time that I be known, I dread ye spakes of spirituality should rue that ever I came in this country. For if the verity plainly were proclaimed, and specially to the king's majesty, for your traditions ye will all be defamed.
And here the vices go to the spiritual estate, and lies upon a Verity, desiring her to be put in captivity, which is done with diligence.
What book is that, harlot, into thy hand? Out, well away. This is the New Testament, in English tongue, and printed in England. Heresy, heresy, fire, fire incontinent.
Forsooth, my friend, ye have a wrong judgment, for in this book there is no heresy, but our Christ's word, both dulce and redolent, and springing well of sincere verity.
Come on your way for all your yellow locks, your wanton words, but doubt ye shall repent. This night shall ye forfare a pair of stocks, and in the morn be brought to doyle judgment.
For our Christ's sake, I am right well content to suffer all thing that shall please his grace. Howbeit ye put 1,000 to torment, 100,000 shall rise into their place.
Verity sits down on her knees and says,
Get up, thou sleeps all too long, O Lord, and make some reasonable reformation on them that does tramp down thy gracious word, and has an deadly indignation at them who makes most true narration. Suffer me not, Lord, more to be molest. Good Lord, I make the supplication, with thy unfriends let me not be suppressed. Now, lords, do as ye list. I have no more to say.
Sit down and take you rest all night till it be day.
They put Verity in the stocks and return to spirituality.
My lord, we have with diligence buckled up when well yon bledren barred.
I think ye serve good recompense. Take 13 crowns for your reward.
The prophecy of the prophet ye say is practiced, alas, on me this day, who said that the Verity should be tramped down amid the street and put in strong prison. This 55 chapter, who list look shall find these words written in his book. Right so St. Paul writes to Timothy, that men shall turn their ears from Verity. But in my Lord God I have esperance. He will provide for my deliverance. But ye princes of spirituality, who should defend the sincere Verity, I dread the plagues of John's revelation shall fall upon your generation. I counsel you this, Mr. Mend, so that ye may escape that fatal end.
Here shall enter Chastity and say,
How long shall this inconstant world endure, that I should banished be so long, alas? Few creatures or none takes me on cure, which gars me many night thy Hameliness. Though I have passed all year from place to place, among the temporal and spiritual states, nor among princes I can get no grace, but boisterously am holden at the gates.
Lady, I pray you show me your name. It does me nor your lamentation.
My friend thereof I need not to think shame. Dame Chastity, banished from town to town.
Then pass the ladies of religion, which makes their vow to observe chastity. Lo, where there sits an Prioress of renown amongst the rest of spirituality.
I grant young lady has vowed chastity, for her profession thereto should accord. She made that vow for an abbacy, but not for Christ Jesus our Lord. From time they get their vows, I stand forward. They banish her out of their company. With chastity they can make no concord, but lead their lives in sensuality. I shall observe your counsel, if I may. Come on, and hear what young lady will say.
And Chastity passes to the Lady Prioress and says,
My prudent, lusty Lady Prioress, remember how ye did vow chastity. Madam, I pray you of your gentleness, that ye would please to have of me pity, and this one night to give me harboury. For this I make you supplication. Do ye not so, madam? I dread, pardie, it will be the cause of deprivation.
Pass hind, madame, by Christ ye come not here. Ye are contraire to my complexion. Gang seek lodging at some old monk or friar, perchance they will be your protection. Or to prelates make your progression, which are oblate to you as well as I. Dame Sensual has given direction you to exclude out of my company.
If ye would wit more of the Verity, I shall show you by sure experience how that the lords of spirituality has banished me, alas, for their presence.
And Chastity passes to the lords of spirituality.
My lords, Lord, glory, triumph, and reverence, but be unto your holy spiritual state. I you beseech of your benevolence, to harboury me that am so desolate. Lords, I have passed through many uncouth shire, but in this land I can get no judging of my name, if you would have me knowledging. Forsooth, my lords, they call me Chastity. I you beseech of your graces benning, give me lodging this night for charity.
Pass on, madam, we know you not, or by him that the world wrought, your coming shall right dear cost, if ye longer tarry.
Someone's an abbot. Maybe I haven't given an abbot out.
It's me.
Ah.
But doubt we will both live and die with our love's sensuality. We will have no more deal with thee than with the Queen of Fairy.
Pass home among the nuns and dwell, which are of chastity the well. I trust they will with book and bell receive you in their cloister.
Sir, when I was the nuns among, out their daughter they me dang, and would not let me bide so long, to say my paternoster. I see no grace therefore to get, I hold it best, or it be late, for to go prove the temporal state, if they will me resate. Good day, my lord Temporality, and you, merchant of gravity, full fain would I have harboury, to lodge among the lake.
And we have a call on the Temporality, who I suspect I haven't given out. So, Elizabeth, be Temporality, please, briefly. We've gone from the spirituality to the Temporality.
Forsooth, we would be well content to harbour you with good intent, were not we have impediment. For why we two are married, but wist our wives that ye were here, they would make all this town unsteer. Therefore we read you you are in arrear, in dread ye be miscarried.
But before we go to the people under Temporality, the non-religious institutions, let's just take in what we've had there. Chastity and Verity not having a great time in the kingdom at the moment. So Verity turns up, manages to do a massive speech, and the vices who are guarding the king put her in the stocks. Now, I don't know, is anyone else getting a sense of deja vu about this particular little bit of business? Anyone remember the once upon a time, back in the distant past, we did a fragment called Somebody or Others, which featured Verity being put in a hole, I think. I don't think it was in the stocks. I think she was put in a hole. But anyway, there are various religious figures who I think get rid of Verity. So I'm really interested actually in the parallel of this with a tiny fragment of a play about 140 lines, of which we do not have anymore. So this thing again feels like this is business. This is a thing that happens in other plays and maybe much more common than we think. Though, of course, 2 plays do not make necessarily a trend. Lois, then Lynn.
Well, it also happens, I think it's Hickscorner. It's either Youth or Hickscorner, but I think it's Hickscorner, which is quite an early 16th century play. And I think might be Chastity or Charity rather that's put in the stocks there. So it seems to be a motif. I don't know whether there is some religious work in which this is used as an image, because I don't know that Lindsay would have had a chance to see this one, although he might have. I mean, it was published.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Lynn.
So I'm confused by the fact that spirituality seems to be on board with what's being done to Chastity and Verity. So, like, spirituality must mean something different than it means now. It doesn't, like, spirituality in the abstract. That's not what's going on here.
No, it's the spirituality. It's the sort of established church. I think it's in the sense you also have then the temporality and the people under that. So the lay people of the commonweal. I think that's what's going on.
That would make sense, that the established church can be corrupted, can be deceived.
Yes, because they make lengthy things about horny prioresses and people who are not taking their vows seriously. Other thoughts about this particular sequence? So, say someone's in the stocks and another person just can't get any lodging. There's no room at the inn. I think this is the first play I was ever in. I think there was an innkeeper, and it was a nativity, and it was there was a song about every time you knocked on a door, and that eventually got a stable. Anyway, Stephen, I think, waved.
I was just intrigued by the stage direction. Just thinking about the staging, a bit back. It says here the Vices goes to the spiritual estate, and lies upon Verity, desiring her to be put in captivity, which is done with diligence. So I'm wondering, I may have missed the discussion of this. The spiritual estate, so we've got sort of, as it were, separate pageants or separate stages, one for each of the estates, perhaps. And I wonder what lies upon Verity means.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I just that was just wrong, or I said it wrong. It was, maybe it's just sees. It might be just notices that Verity is there, rather than an action, as it were.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of when I used to do medieval plays, like millions of years ago. There'd be these moments where you'd hit a sort of tableau, so that the tableau would be the Vice desiring Verity to be put in captivity. And there would be a perhaps a slow moving or whatever, but people would strike a pose, and there's your kind of stained glass window, as it were. There's your sort of allegorical picture, rather than some kind of Marceau business. It seems to me that perhaps we're just accessing really really recognizable visual photograph, tableau pattern here. But I don't know. It's just intriguing.
Alan,
the way I interpreted that stage direction was that he's gone into a huddle with the others, and he's sort of whispering away, and is telling lies.
Yeah, that might work.
Well, sort of improvising it in that case.
Well, it's sort of
in dumb show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I like the idea of improvising lies about Verity. I think that would be cool.
Other thoughts that were Lois?
Yeah, I wondered about both meanings of lies there. The trouble is, I mean, this bit is very inflammatory. I mean, Verity is holding the New Testament in English. This is obviously a very Protestant thing, and I'm not sure that letting the actors improvise at this point would be a good idea. I mean, it's a curious episode because the whole idea that Chastity can't find a home anywhere is basically kind of funny. I mean, and I think it gets funnier when we get into the middle classes and the temporality, with the spirituality. It's kind of it's a sin. But then you got these two guys saying, we're both married and our wives would be absolutely furious.
Spoilers.
Yeah, well, no, we just had that, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Have we just had that?
The last speech.
Yeah, but wist our wives that you were here, they would make all this town unsteer, get the hell out of here before our wives find out. Because there's this funny image, which is really that it's wives that are desperate for sex much more than men. I mean, like the wife of Bath, they're constantly trying to get their husbands to perform and their husbands are exhausted. And that seems to be kind of the message here too.
Right, let's dig into what happens when Chastity goes amongst the temporality, as it were, because we're going to have a Sowtar and a Taylor and Jenny, a Taylor's wife. We're going to have some peopleage here. I don't know if we meet temporality again. Anyway, Chastity, take it away.
Men of craft, of grace and gene, give me Barbary for Christ's peen, and win to God benison and mine, and help my hungry heart.
Welcome be him that made the moon to dwell with us till it be June. We shall mend both your hose and shoon, and plainly take your part.
Is this fair Lady Chastity? Now welcome by the Trinity. I think it were an great pity thou should lie there out. Your great displeasure I forethink. Sit down, madame, and take and drink, and let no sorrow in you sink, but let us play cap out.
Go in and play cap out, for I am wondered dry. The devils snip off their snout that hates this company.
And here shall they, Chastity, sit down and drink.
How? Many, many, many.
Sorry, Goon Show. What would thou, my dear daughter Jenny? Jenny, my joy, where is thy daddy?
Married, drinking with a lusty lady, one fair young maiden clad in white, of whom my daddy takes delight. She has the fairest form of face, furnished with all kind of grace. I trust if I can reckon right, she sheps to lodge with him all night.
Ooh. Have I not given out a Sowtar's wife? I don't think I have. Sarah, I think you might be free. I could be wrong. Yes, sir, you are. Be a Sowtar's wife.
What does the Sowtar, my good man?
Marry, fills the cap and turns the can. Or he come home by God, I trow, he will be drunken like and sow.
This is a great despite, I think, for to resave such an cow clink. What is your counsel that we do?
Come here. This is my counsel. Lo, ding ye the tongue, and I the other.
I am content. By God's mother, I think for me they horse and smacks. They serve right well to get their packs. Master Fiend needs all this haste. For it's half a year almost since ever that loon laboured my ladder.
God, nor my true Humanitas and ladder, for it is more nor 40 days since ever he claked up my clays. And last when I got Chalmer glue, that foul Sowtar began to spew. And now they will sit down and drink in company with a cow clink. If they have done us this despite, let us go ding them till they drite.
And here shall the wives chase away Chastity.
Go hence, harlot. How darest thou be so bold to judge with our good men but our licence? I make and vow to him that Judas sold this rock of mine shall be thy recompense. Show me thy name, Dudrun, with diligence.
Marry, Chastity is my name by St. Blaise.
I pray God nor he work on my vengeance, for I love never chastity all my days.
But, my goodman, the truth I shall tell. Gars keep chastity sore against my will, because that monster has made such a mint with my bedstaff that dastard bears a dint. And as I vow, come thou this gate again, thy buttocks shall be belted by St. Blaine.
And here shall they speak to their goodman and ding them.
False horse and churl, but doubt thou shalt forthink that ever thou eat or drink with yon cow-clink.
I make a vow to Saint Crispin, I'll be revenged on that graceless groom, and to begin the play, take there a flap.
The fiend received the hands that gave me that.
What now, whoreson, begins thou for to ban? Take there another upon thy piled hard pan. What now, comer, will thou not take my part?
That shall I do, comer, with all my heart.
And here shall they ding their goodman with silence, i.e. presumably in dumb show.
Alas, gossip, alas, how stands with you? Yon cankered carling, alas, has broken me brow. Now wells you priests, now wells you all your lives, that are not wedded with such wicked wives.
Bishops are blessed, howbeit that they weary it, for they may fuck their fill and be unmarried. Gossip, alas, the black band we may weary, the ordained judge, pure man as us to marry. What may be done but take in patience, and all wives will cry in loud vengeance.
Here shall the wives stand by the waterside and say,
Sin of our carls we have the victory. What is your counsel, comer, that be done?
Then for good wine, and hold ourselves merry. I'll decide best, comer, by St. Joan.
Comer, will ye draw off my hose and shoon? To fill the core, I shall run to the town.
That shall I do, by him that made the moon, with all my heart. Therefore, comer, sit down, kilt up your clothes above your waist, and speed you home again in haste, and I shall provide for and paste our courses to comfort.
Then help me for to kilt my clays. What if the paddocks nick my tays? I dread to drown here by St. Blaise without I get support.
and she lifts up her clothes above her waist and enters in the water.
Comer, I will not drown myself. Go east about the nether mill.
I'm content, by bride's bell, to gang with you wherever ye will.
And they shall exit and pass to the pavilion. We'll just pause there, and just to celebrate the first use of the word "fuck" in the dramatic canon. That is its first. This play isn't the first play to use "cunt." That has appeared in the Castle of Perseverance a good 100 plus years earlier. I mean, that's not to say it hadn't been used previously, but that is its first appearance. Of which I, as a Scot, am proud. So that's something to note. So that's an interesting comic interlude there with stuff. Thoughts on the room, Alan?
Add a trigger warning to the notes on YouTube. Domestic violence included.
Lots of physical comedy violence going on there, as people being beaten rather a lot, because that's hilarious. Other thoughts, Lynn?
So she lifts up her clothes above the waist. We've got kind of gratuitous nudity. I mean, how are they going to manage that? I want to just technically, because the performers would presumably all have been male. So what would the actor have been wearing under his dress? Something that was supposed to resemble female anatomy? I'm sorry, my mind is so in the gutter. You should probably just not listen.
I think, to be fair, that's where the text is taking us. I think don't worry. I think that's very. I mean, it might be. It might not be as rude as that, but I suspect it is. That seems to be. This is very much tonally similar to the trailer that we looked at yesterday. I mean, it's suddenly, we've had a certain amount of sex and other business in other parts of the play with the vices, but nothing quite so broad as this has been. I'll go back to Lynn again, then Lois.
There's no such thing as knickers. There's no such thing as pants. Whatever. We have a division of common language here. You know what we would call underwear or panties. It didn't exist. People, neither gender had a bifurcated nether garment as an undergarment. Women wore nothing under their petticoats, and men tucked their shirt around their buttocks and groin. So they didn't have anything for this person to have under his clothes. So I'm just wondering how they managed this.
Yeah. Lois, then Alan, then Stephen.
Yeah, well, I wish to raise the tone of this discussion a bit.
That shouldn't be hard because, like, we're hitting the bottom.
But I find really interesting is the way that this virtuous character, Chastity, is being used. And, you know, she's described as being, you know, as all the virtues are, very beautiful. And then she's also described, you know, by the girl to her mother as clearly this is some tart he's got in for the evening, and he plans to spend the night with her. I mean, but what's fun is just that the abstract virtue becomes totally material, and nobody has any sense. I think that it's kind of the way this thing works, and in fact, morality plays work generally. That the vicious characters don't really understand abstract nouns, and they only really make sense in the world of the virtuous characters.
Alan.
Yeah, we did have a bit of a debate yesterday about whether the playing company would have been entirely male, and inconclusive outcome, because it's pre-professional theatre, isn't it, this one? So it could actually have been a dual gender cast, in which case the physicality issue that Lynn raised wouldn't apply.
It probably isn't. I should just say the caveat there is wafer thin, but you know, because we don't have any direct evidence that there was necessarily in this kind of stuff, but it's not totally impossible, just highly improbable. Stephen, then Eric, then Lois.
Well, I suppose it's kind of the same point, really. But from the point of view of, you know, if we don't have an absolutely massive cast, then what we've got is lots of doubling, and so there's a sort of, as it were, a flash of theatricality because they've just thrown something over the other costume, and so what we might see might be, you know, a costume that we associate with somebody else, and so it's also a kind of pantomime joke, I suppose, isn't it? You know, you're almost in pantomime dame territory or something. You know that if you have male playing female, then you've got the double there. You've got the joke that they're male, and then you've got the joke that they're actually just multi-rolling as well. Perhaps.
It also partly depends on which direction the river is in regards to the audience. It might be that actually they're facing the other direction. You know, but I depending on also what this river is. I mean, you know, even in the context of the various potential performance spaces for it, that's an interesting question of which I don't really know. Eric.
Yeah, that's the point I was gonna make. It's like, is this like an artificial river? Is this a literal river? Is this sort of, because like I do like the idea of having, you know, I mean, even then again, it would still be very cold in mid-June. I mean, to do this. Then again, I guess if you're wearing stuff, yeah, kind of. I'm just intrigued by this stunt, and also where the pavilion is. There's a part of me going, I gotta go look up the architecture of like the sort of geography of Fife in this period to figure out if this is like site specific or something.
Yes, what does it mean by pavilion in terms of, you know, and they've talked about chambers is that the same as the pavilion, that we've got various different potential stage areas, and how those things connect. I mean, it's also interesting what some of these stage directions are doing. They're not saying this thing is happening now. They're often saying this thing happens in the next bit of dialogue, sort of describing the physical action that will occur in a bit, rather than definite action occurs at this point sometimes. So it's actually that whole sequence seemed to, the stage directions might be doing a slightly different thing to what earlier stage directions were doing. Lois, then we'll need to move on.
Yeah, they look as if they're addressed to the actors rather than to a reader. Yeah, I was just going to say about the casting. I mean, women could act, but I think only in private contexts. I mean, I think nuns would give performances within a convent, and certainly in private homes. I think the women of the family could perform, but in a public context like this, certainly not, and especially not playing, comic, highly sexualized female roles. I mean, it would be outrageous.
Right, let us move on. We've had that little interlude, just to remind everyone that there are other characters in this play, many of whom we've met earlier. So we have Chastity is continuing their journey, as it were. So the various Sowtar's wife, etc., have exited, and now we have a little exchange between Diligence and Chastity. Chastity not perhaps in the best place at the moment.
Madam, what guards you gang so late? Tell me how you have done debate with the temporal and spiritual state. Who did you most kindness?
Faith, I found but ill and war. They gat me stand from there a scar, e'en like a beggar at the bar, and flem it more and less.
I counsel you but tarrying, gang tell humanity the king, perchance he of his grace bidding will make to you support.
Of your counsel I am content, to pass to him incontinent, and my service to him present, in hope of some comfort.
Here shall they pass to the king.
How, Solace, gentle Solace, declare unto the king how there is here a lady fairer face that in this country can get no lodging, but pitifully flimmet from place to place, without the king of his special grace, as one serving her in his court safe. Brother Solace, tell the king all the case, that she may be received among the laife.
A sovereign, get up and see an heavenly sight. One fair lady in white habiliment, she may be peer to any king or knight, most like an angel by my judgment.
I shall gang see this sight incontinent. Madam, behold, if ye have knowledging of yon lady, or what is her intent. Thereafter we shall turn but tarrying.
Sir, let me see what yon matter may mean, perchance that I may know her by her face. Doubt that this is Dame Chastity, I ween, sir. I and she cannot bide in a place. But if it be the pleasure of your grace that I remain into your company, this woman right hastily got chase, that she no more be seen in this country.
As ever ye please, sweetheart, so shall it be. Dispone her as ye think expedient, even as ye list to let her live or die. I will refer that thing to your judgment.
I will that she be flemmet incontinent, and never to come again in this country. And if she does but doubt, she shall repent, and as perchance a doleful deed shall die. Pass on, Sir Sapience and Discretion, and banish her out of the king's presence.
That shall we do, madam, by God's passion. We shall do your command with diligence, and at your hands serve goodly recompense. Dame Chastity, come on, be not aghast. We shall ride soon upon your own expense unto the stocks your bonny foot make fast.
And here shall they hurl Chastity to the stocks, and she shall say,
I pray you, sirs, be patient. I shall be obedient to do what ye command. Sin I see there is no remede, howbeit it were to suffer deed, or flem it forth of the land. I wite the Emperor Constantine, that I am put to such ruin, and banished from the kirk. For since he made the Pope and King, in Rome I could get no lodging, but headlands in the murk. But Lady Sensuality, Sensine, has guided this country, and many of the rest. And now she rules all this land, and has decreed at her command that I should be suppressed. But all comes for the best, till him that loves the Lord, though I be now molest, I trust to be restored.
And here shall they put her in the stocks.
Sister, alas, this is an careful case, that we with princes should be so abhorred.
Be blithe, sister. I trust within short space that we shall be right honourably restored, and with the king we shall be at concord. For here tell divine correction is new landed, thanked by Christ our Lord. I wait, he will be our protection.
And here shall enter Correction's valet.
Sirs, stand aback and hold you coy. I am the king Correction's boy, come here to dress his place. See that you make obedience unto his noble excellence from time ye see his face. For he makes reformations, outthrow all Christian nations, where he finds great debates. And so far as I understand, he shall reform into this land even all the three estates. God forth of heaven has him send to punish all that does offend against his majesty, as likes him best to take vengeance, sometimes with sword and pestilence, with dearth and poverty. But when the people does repent and bees to God obedient, then will he give them grace. But they that will not be correcter, right suddenly will be dejecter, and flame it from his face. Sir, thought we speak in general, let no man into special, take our words at the worst. Whatever we do, whatever we say, I pray you, take it all in play, and judge I to be best. For silence I protest, both of lord, laird, and lady. Now will I run but rest, and tell that all is ready.
Brother, hear ye yon proclamation. A dreadful sort of reformation. Your message makes me mind it. And what is your counsel to me tell? Remain we here by God himself, we will be all three hanged.
I'll gang to spirituality and preach out through his diocese, where I would be unknown, or keep me close unto some cloister, with many a piteous paternoster, till all these blasts be blown.
I'll be well treated as ye can with my masters, the merchantmen, which can make small debates. Ye can ride few of them that thrives or can beguile the landlord wives, but me their man Deceit. Now, Falset, what shall be thy shift?
No, cure thou not, man, for my thrift. Trows thou that I be daft? No, I will live a lusty life, without any sturt and strife, among the men of craft.
I no more will remain beside you, but counsel you right well to guide you. Bid naught on correction. Farewell, I will no longer tarry. I pray the all-rich queen of fairy to be your protection.
Falset, we make done band now while the king is yet sleeping. What rack to steal his box?
Now, well said, by the sacrament, I shall it steal incontinent, though it had 20 locks.
And here shall Falset steal the king's box with silence.
Oh, here the box. Now let us gay. This may suffice for our reward.
Yea, that it may man by this day, it may well make the landward blades. Now let us cast away our clays, in dreadsome fall on the chase.
Right well devised, man, by St. Blaise. Would God we were out of this place.
And they cast away their counterfeit clothes.
Now, sin, there is no man to wrong us. I pray you, brother, with my heart, let's get part this pelf among us. Sin, hastily we shall depart.
Trows thou to get as mickle as I? That shalt thou not. I stole the box. Thou did nothing but looked by, I lurking like a wily fox.
Thy head shall bear a couple of knocks, pillar without I get my parts, with horse and smack. Rife up the locks, or I shall stick thee through the heart.
Here shall they fetch with silence.
Alas, forever, my eyes out. All the way will no man breed the men? And then, shall I continue?
Oh, yes, that's an interest. Sorry, that should have been Falset there. I
Oh.
apologise. That was Falset's line. Give it again.
Oh, okay. Ah, alas, forever my eye is out. Well away, will no man read the men?
Upon thy crag take their man clout, to be courteous I shall thee ken. Farewell, for I am at the flight, I will not bide on no demands, and we two meet again this night. Thy feet shall be with 40 hands.
And here shall Deceit run away with the box through the ways. So another little stage hint. There are ways. There are routes, presumably amongst the audience. We had make room the other day, so maybe there are semi-defined areas of room for manoeuvre, but there may be some drift. I don't know. I'm just speaking out loud. So we've got 2 people in the stocks, and we've got 3 vices who are sort of going, right, well, let's get out while the going's good. Let's steal the king's stuff, which they then do, and do what vices do, which is fall out and have a fight, and fight over the goods. So, yeah, the reintroduction of the vices who then peg it, basically, because, you know, it doesn't look like the going's good. Doesn't look like the going's good. You know, you can't keep Verity and Chastity locked away forever. They're going to get out. They're going to escape. So yeah. Any thoughts in the room about this? They've got rid of their counterfeit clothes. They're no longer in disguise. They're liquidating their assets, and they're heading off.
So, what's in the box? Is it just like treasure?
Yeah, king stuff.
It's the precious.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you know, I'm trying to thematically link it to the trailer, but I can't, because there is some sort of trying to steal things quality there, but I think that's a stretch. I had a go. Still not really finding that many things to throw in there. Other thoughts in the room before we move forward? Eric.
This is not an unfamiliar motif. Pretty much like, you know, turning on each other is what vices do.
Oh, absolutely.
After their mission has been accomplished.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Other thoughts? He said while he looked something up and hoped that someone would cover for him. No, nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to come up with something witty to say. Nobody. Just look down.
I'm finding it difficult to come up with anything to say about this play, to be honest, because I mean I haven't done that many morality plays, but even so, I just feel like I've been here many times before. But I mean, the Scottish thing is very, you know, the fact that it's Scottish and there's all this dialect in it is really interesting. Because I'm cold reading this and I'm just kind of making it up as I go along. I took the decision to read every part in a different accent that wasn't Scottish, just to see if I could make it work with other dialects. And it's weird, actually, you sort of can. I mean, half the time I've no idea what I'm actually saying, but it is interesting how dialects do seem to transpose, you know, one from the other. You know, if you give it a weird enough accent, you can kind of make something of it, even though it's nothing like Scottish.
Yes, and remember, I should note for the audience at home, I said this in the last video, this has been leavened out a lot in terms of the amount of actual dialect and clues as to accent that are in there. It's not entirely been removed, but I thought it was unfair on cold readers to hand them a script that forces you to enact an accent that you might not be able to do. So I thought that was cool. and unusual punishment. So yes, we're going to have a little return of some virtues to try and rebalance things. Correction's going to arrive. Have we met Correction before? We just had references to Correction. I don't think we've met Correction. We've met Good-counsel, who will have a chat with Correction, and then they're entering, I think, the space where we left our stocked people. And Correction's going to open with a bit from the Bible, I think. Blessed are they which hunger and thirst for righteousness. So take it away, Correction.
Beati quia surient and situnt justitium. There are the words of the redoubted Roy, the Prince of Peace, among all kings king, which had me sent all countries to convoy, all misdoers dourly to drown thring. I will do naught without the convening and parliament of the estates all. In their presence I shall, but feigning iniquity, under my sword down thrall. There may no prince do acts honourable, but if his counsel thereto will assist, how may he know the thing most profitable, to follow virtue and vices to resist, without he be instructed and solaced? And when the king stands at his counsel sound, then wealth shall wax and plenty as he list, and policy shall in his realm abound. Then he list my name for to inquire, I am called Divine Correction. I fled through many uncouth land and shire to the great prophet of ilka nation. Now am I come into this region to till the ground that has been long unsown, to punish tyrants for their transgression, and to cause little men that live upon their own. No realm nor land but my support may stand, but I guard kings live unto royalty. To rich and poor I bear an equal hand, that they may live unto their own degree. Where I am not is no tranquility. By me traitors and tyrants are put down, who thinks no shame of their iniquity, till they be punished by me. Correction, what is a king? Naught but an officer, to cause his lieges live in equity, and under God to be an punisher of trespassers against his majesty. But when the king does law in tyranny, break and justice for fear or defection, then is his realm in wear and poverty, with shameful slaughter but correction. I am a judge, right potent and severe, come to do justice many thousand mile. I am so constant both in peace and war, no burden nor favour may my sight assail. There is therefore right many in this isle of my repair, but doubt that does repent. But virtuous men, I trust, shall on me smile, and of my coming shall be right well content.
Welcome, my lord. Welcome then 10,000 times to all faithful men of this region. Welcome for to correct all faults and crimes among this cankered congregation. Lose chastity, I make supplication. Put to freedom fair lady Verity, who be unfaithful folk of this nation lies bound full fast into captivity.
I marvel, good counsel, how that may be. Are ye not with the king familiar?
That I am not, my lord. Full woe is me, but like a beggar am holden at the bar. They play bo-cake even as I were a scar. There came 3 knaves in clothing counterfeit, and from the king they got me stand afar, whose names were Flattery, Falset, and Deceit. But when the knaves heard tell of your coming, they stole away ilkan and sundry gate, and cast from them their counterfeit clothing, for their living full well they can debate. The merchantmen, they have received deceit. As for Falset, my lord, full well I ken he will be right well treated ere and late among the most part of the craftsmen. Flattery has ta'en the habit of a friar, thinking to beguile spirituality.
But doubt, my friend, and I live half a year, I shall search out that great iniquity. Where lies Lonyades in captivity? How now, sister? Who has you so disguised?
Unfaithful members of iniquity, despitefully, my lord, has us surprised.
Can put yon ladies to their liberty, incontinent, and break down all the stocks. But doubt they are full dear welcome to me. Make diligence, methink you do, but mocks. Sweet hand and space not to break the locks, and tenderly take them up by the hand. Had I them here, their knaves should ken my knocks, that them oppressed and banished off the land.
And they take the ladies forth of the stocks, and Verity shall say,
We thank you, sir, of your benignity, but I beseech your majesty royal that ye would pass to King Humanity and flee from him yon lady sensual, and enter in his service Good-counsel, for ye will find him very counselable.
Come on, sisters, as ye have said, I shall, and gar him stand with you three firm and stable.
Correction passes towards the king with Verity, Chastity, and Good-counsel.
Solace, knowest thou not what I see? A knight, or else a king, thinks me, with wanton wings as he would flee. Brother, what may this mean? I understand not by this day whether that he be friend or fay. Stand still, and hear what he will say. Such one I have not seen.
Yon is a stranger, I stand for't. He seems to be a lusty lord. By his coming here for concord and be kind to our king, he shall be welcome in this place and treated with the king's grace. Be it not so, we shall him chase and to the devil him ding.
I read Buddhas upon English. Wait, not English, Scots. I read his foot upon the king and waken him of his sleeping. Sir, rise and see an uncouth thing. Get up, ye lie too long.
Put on your hood, John Fool, ye rave. How dare you be so pert, Sir Knave, to touch the king? So Christ be saved. False horseman, thou shalt hang.
Get up, Sir King, ye have slept enough. Into the arms of Lady Sensual, be sure that more belongs the pluche. And afterwards, perchance rehearse I shall, remember how the king, Sardanapal, among fair ladies took his lust so long, so that the most part of his lieges all rebelled and signed him dolefully down throng. Remember how into the time of Noy, for the foul stink and sin of lechery, God by my wand did all the world destroy, Sodom and Gomorrah right so full rigorously, for that vile sin were brunt in most cruelly. Therefore I thee command incontinent, banish from thee that whore sensuality, or else but doubt rudely thou shalt repent.
By whom have ye so great authority? Who does presume for to correct and king? Know ye not me, great King Humanity, that in my region royally doth reign?
I have power great princes to downthring, that lives contraire the majesty divine, against the truth which plainly does mallying. Repent they naught, I put them to ruin. I will begin at thee, which is the head, and make on thee the first reformation. Thy lieges then will follow thee, but plead, swift harlot hence without dilation.
My lord, I make you supplication. Give me license to pass again to Rome. Among the princes of that nation, I lat you wit my fresh beauty will bloom. That you, Sir King, I may no longer tarry. I care not that, as good love comes, as goes. I recommend you to the Queen of Fairy. I see will be guided with my foes. As for this king, I care him not two straws.
Were I among bishops and cardinals, I would get gold, silver, and precious clothes. No earthly joy but my presence avails.
And here, sensuality having been cast out, passes to spirituality.
My lords of the spiritual state, Venus preserve you, ere and late, for I can make no more debate. I am parted with your king, and am banished this region by counsel of correction. Be not my protection, I may seek my lodging.
Welcome, our day's darling, welcome with all our heart. We all but feigning shall plainly take your part.
Here shall the bishops, abbots, and parsons kiss the ladies.
Senior quit of sensuality, receive into your service good counsel, and right so this fair lady Chastity, till ye marry some queen of blood royal. Observe then chastity matrimonial, right so receive Verity by the hand. Use their counsel, your fame shall never fall. With them, therefore, make an perpetual band.
Here shall the king receive counsel of Verity and Chastity.
Now, sir, take tent what I will say. Observe these same both night and day, and let them never part you fray, else without and doubt turn ye to sensuality, to vicious life and revelry. Out of your realm right shamefully ye shall be ratted out, as was Tarquin, the Roman king, who was for his vicious living, and for the shameful ravishing of the fair chaste Lucrece. He was regraded of his crown, and banished off his region. I made on him correction, as stories does express.
I am content to your counsel to incline, ye being of good condition. At your command shall be all that is mine, and here I give you full commission to punish faults and give remission to all virtue. I shall be conscionable. With you I shall confirm an union, and at your counsel stand firm. I firm and stable.
The king embraces correction with an humble countenance.
I counsel you incontinent to guard, proclaim, and parliament of all the three estates, that they be here with diligence, to make to you obedience, and sign dress all debates.
That shall be done, but more demand how diligence come here from hand, and take your information. Gang warn the spirituality, right so the temporality, by open proclamation, in good haste for to compare in their most honorable manner, to give us their counsels. Who that be absence to them show, that they shall underlie the law, and punished be that fails.
Sir, I shall both in borrow and land with diligence do your command upon my own expense. Sir, I have served you all this year, but never gotten dinner yet for my recompense.
Pass on, and thou shalt be regarded, and for thy service well rewarded. For why, with my consent, thou shalt have yearly for thy hire the tained muscles of the Fernie mire, confirmed in Parliament.
And we'll get riches through that rent after the day of doom, when in the coal pots of Trent butter will grow on broom. All night I had so mickle druth that I might not sleep in a week, or I proclaim with my mouth, the doubt man have a drink.
Come here, Placebo and Solace, with your companion Wantonness. I know well your condition, the tasting king humanity to receive sensuality. Ye men suffer pernician.
We grant, my lord, we have done ill, therefore we put us in your will, but we have been abused. For in good faith, sir, we believe that lechery had no man grieve, because it is so used.
You see how sensuality with the principles of ilk country been gladly letting in, and with our prelates more and less, ask my lady prioress if Flattery be sin.
Sir, we shall mend our condition, so you give us remission, but give us leave to sing, to dance, to play at chess and tables, to read stories and merry fables for pleasure of our king.
So that ye do no other crime, ye shall be pardoned at this time. Why? As I suppose, princes may sometimes seek solace with mirth and lawful merriness, their spirits to rejoice. And right so, hawking and hunting are honest pastimes for a king into the time of peace, and learn to run an heavy spear, that he into the time of war may follow at the chase.
Where is sapience and discretion, and why comes not devotion near?
Sapience, sir, was in very loon, and discretion was nothing were. The sooth, sir, if I would report, they did beguile your excellence, and would not suffer to resort one of us three to your presence.
They three were Flattery and Deceit, and Falset, that unhappy loon, against us three which made debate, and banished us from tune to tune. They gat us twa full into sound, then they locked us in the stocks, that dastard knave Discretion, full theftlessly did steal your box.
The devil take them, Signor gone. Methought them I three very smakes. I make and vow to Saint Mavain, when I them find they's bear their pakes, I see they have played me the glakes. Good-counsel, now show me the best. When I fix on thee my stakes, how shall I keep my realm in rest?
Initium sapientia estimo domini. Sir, if your highness yearns long to ring, first dread your God above all other thing. We are but a mortal instrument to that great God and King omnipotent. Preordinate be his divine majesty to rule his people unto unity. The principal point, sir, of a king's office is for to do every ilk man justice, and for to mix his justice with mercy. But rigour, favour, or partiality, forsooth, it is no little observance great regions to have in governance. Whoever takes on him that kingly cure, to get one of their two, he should be sure great pain and labour, and that continual, or else to have defame perpetual. Who guides well, they win immortal fame. Who the contrary, they get perpetual shame. After whose death but doubt 1,000 year, their life at length rehearsed shall be perquare. The chronicles to know, I you exhort. There shall ye find both good and evil report for every prince after his quality. Though he be dead, his deeds shall never die. Sir, if you please for to use my counsel, your fame and name shall be perpetual.
And here shall the messenger Diligence return and cry, oyes, and say.
At the command of King Humanity, I warn and charge all members of Parliament, both spiritual state and temporality, that to his grace they be obedient, and speed them to the court incontinent. In good order array as royally, who be's absent or inobedient, the king's displeasure they shall underlie. And as I make you exhortation, since ye have heard the first part of our play, go seek and drink and make collation. Ilk man drink to his marrow, I you pray. Tarry not long, it stays in the day. Let drink some ale and some claret wine. By great doctors of physic, I hear say that mighty drink comforts the dull engine. And ye ladies that list to piss, lift up your tail, platter and dish. And if your whistle call cries quish. God, I have no idea how to pronounce the word. Stop in and wisp of stray. Let not your bladder burst. I pray you for that you were even enough to slay you. For there is yet to come, I say you, the best part of our play.
Now shall the people make collation. Then begins an interlude, which we'll look at next time. But yes, once again, this playwright seems to be quite obsessed with people having a pee, specifically ladies having a pee. Again, we were discussing the mechanics of all this. So we've got pish, dish, and quish, or wish. Wish. It feels that sound is onomatopoeic, I think, or is supposed to be. Yeah, quite obsessed with that is this playwright. But I do like the fact that they are concerned about the audience's comfort. Go, have a drink, get some food, come back after the interval, remember to go for a wee. It feels more like a coach trip of children, really, isn't it? It's that kind of thing. You should have gone before. After what is, as I say, the sort of that moment in a morality play where the king is, correction turns up, and I wonder how physical this bit is, because Solace, Placebo, and Sensuality seem to be in the way, and it's almost like it sort of takes them out one by one, and then get up and sort of goes full in the face of the king. And the king's going, "Who the is this?" So that might be more dynamic than it seems, and then Sensuality goes off and just has an orgy. I mean, it's just, yeah. Yeah. Of which I'm sort of going, I kind of really wish that is still going on in the background while the rest of all these other speeches are going on, because it's like, now reform, you can have some fun, but you can't have too much fun, etc. So, yeah, Alan.
Well, in your production, the orgy would obviously continue to go on in the background. But I'm just thinking that in some ways this almost a coda to this act. By this point, even in real time, part one has lasted probably something like an hour and a half. So there are probably a number of people who are fidgeting in their seats at this stage.
Oh, I think that's an optimistic timing. I think we're vaulting towards 2 hours here. It's not a short play, even done at pace.
It's a long first half, isn't it?
But that's why we got up at 7. Sarah.
It also just made me laugh. That last couplet, because it's like, you need to come back because there's more. The best part's coming. You haven't had the best part yet. It's like, I feel the playwright needed to add that on there, because anyone who was there for the trailer at the beginning and has then sat through all of this, not that there hasn't been lots of colour and action and fun and interesting bits in this, but it is completely different, really, apart from the odd bit here and there that did kind of echo back to the trailer. Most of it has not been in that style at all, so it's like I feel like he almost thought, oh yeah, I just better put that in at the end. There's more to come, the best part of our play, so that they do actually come back after the interval.
Yeah, we have that little episode with the tailor's and the Sowtar's wife that is very reminiscent of that opening bit. Very, very, much more so than a lot of the rest of the text. So yeah, Lois.
Yeah, Diligence sort of begins and ends the play and talks about it and addresses the audience. And people have suggested that this really is Lindsay. He might have played the part, but he's speaking almost like Lindsay, especially in that bit where he tells the king that he never seems to get paid. And the king says, I mean, it's clearly a kind of close relationship if he's mirroring his own relationship with the king, because the king says something like, oh, yes, I'll give you, and it's something in cloud cuckoo land. And he says, yes, I can see I'll be really rich after the day of judgment. And I mean, it's quite different from the rest of this bit.
Other thoughts? Eric?
I did enjoy the specificity of by great doctors of physics, I hear say that, mighty drink comforts the dull. I'm guessing engine, like dull brain is or like intestine or something. I don't know what that is, but it's just I like how. And now for our sponsors.
Yes. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Yeah, and the thing is that there is this sort of interesting element that we now also effectively get an interval show. That's how we're going to start the next session, is we have another sort of interlude episode thing that is going on. So he's throwing everything at. I mean, this is durational. This is how it feels like. You're being warned in advance. It's going to be a long day, but there will be food. Just make sure you can hold your bladder. Otherwise, you might be in trouble. So yeah, we're into final thoughts. That time's come. We've gone on a pace. For those who've been here throughout, we've got essentially a first unit of action is complete. We've got a sense of the overall shape of everything. That sense of what to do with it now is starting to come into focus. Where do we go with it tonally? Where does one decide how to present it? Do you go full big outdoor event, or do you fill it down to a smaller kind of thing, depending on your personal preference, taste, and/or budget? Lynn, any final thoughts? You're new to this, so you've leapt in not quite at the deep end. You know the form of the thing by now.
I am actually enjoying the verse. We haven't talked about that this session, but I sort of enjoy this slightly odd vocabulary and the rhythms of it and the occasional indulgence in alliteration. So I've been enjoying the form of it, but I always have a hard time engaging with morality and with allegory. So I've just had a hard time getting into it.
Yes, if you're not into this kind of thing, then you never will be. It's fine. We don't have to make you like a certain genre, but we can always hope that there is an audience for some of it. I think there's certainly lots of detachable bits that I'm looking at. There's some really interesting things going on in some of those little bits and pieces that are very usable in a different way. Eric, any final thoughts?
Yeah, this part was this section of the play, I don't know, whatever you want. This play, okay. Part one of the play was quite interesting because, as Lynn mentioned and as Lois mentioned yesterday, there's a huge range of vocabulary. You get like the sort of virtue characters with all the sort of proper speech and stuff, and with sort of a very different rhyme scheme from the vice characters, which is sort of an indication as to, I don't know, perhaps also the changing pace. Because I noticed that when we were trying to read, I mean, obviously this is a cold read, so pace might not matter quite as much, but it slows down a lot once you get to the sort of long speeches. Well, not that long, but I mean, we've had longer. Sort of the virtues going, look, this isn't this lovely, this is how we're supposed to behave, kind of thing. But it isn't quite what we were promised in the trailer. There's a part of me going, cut to the chase. I want to see the weird shenanigans. Because also it made me think of very different plays halfway through, sort of at some point, I was thinking of Game at Chess, which uses a very different framing device to discuss religion, which is kind of, part of the theme of this play, it seems. Although this is more morality than religion, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting play thus far.
Alan, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, as Sarah's pointed out, the connection with the trailer is pretty tangential so far. Be interesting to see whether anything comes of it in the succeeding bits. But it's an interesting read, but getting back into the morality play type stuff after some while since we last did one is a bit of a mental exercise to actually get into the frame for it. And I'm not quite sure how a modern audience would react on a first impressions basis. I think there'd probably be quite a number who would, particularly if they had the trailer, would be thinking, "Oh yes, fine, we're in for some nice bawdy comedy," and that's been pretty few and far between so far. The other question that occurred to me both in yesterday and today is, I would like to have an extensive programme note on what was happening in Scott's political and religious life at this time, just to try and put some historical context around it.
Yeah, it's complicated. Is the short answer?
Yeah, I'm sure it is, but
yeah,
I'm not sure where Knox and Calvin, for example, fall date-wise compared with this.
Absolutely, it's the kind of follow-up that we will at some point do. Stephen, any final thoughts? You've been here throughout.
The only thing is, I mean, I feel like we've had a play already. I mean, in terms of the kind of shape of the thing, you know, we've had the arc. So I'm really curious. You know, it's a bit like that Avengers film where they kill everybody off. You know, and they kind of how are we actually going to do the second half of this?
Yeah.
You know, what's going to is it just going to be a whole other bunch of other people come and kind of tempt the king? So paradoxically, you know, I am curious. I do want to see what happens in the second half, despite there having already been a play, just to see how they kind of get themselves out of that.
Yeah. Where does it go from here? You know, what is the plot going to do? Elizabeth, you weren't here for yesterday's session, so you're coming in reasonably cold. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think that what has been said already has really kind of summarized the text so far. I found all the raunchy, bawdy bits really enjoyable. But then there were these tonal shifts where it moved into more of a morality play, which I didn't find as enjoyable as the kind of the dirty bits. I don't know if that was just maybe my modern take on like narratives, like kind of like wanting it to be more raunchy and wanting it to be more sexualized. As soon as it started getting into like temporality and spirituality, and then they getting into those discussions between the virtues, it kind of started to lose me a little bit. And then the playwright would bring in like an orgy or something to kind of like, you know, to tempt the audience further. And I thought that was quite good. So I am quite excited to see where it's gone. I totally agree with Steve, who said that it's like we've had the play already, and now where they're going to go with it. So that's kind of what I was thinking. So I really don't know what Lindsay was going to do with the play now that we've kind of had the main event.
Where's it going to go? What happens with season 2? Lois, for any final thoughts?
Yeah, you know, we keep saying that it doesn't go with the trailer, but what the trailer is doing is showing us the kind of people that are coming to watch this play, and not necessarily the kind of play that it's going to be, though obviously the sort of people that are depicted in there are in fact turning up in this play. And it's possible, in fact, I mean, I don't know how on earth one would cast this thing, but it'd be quite good to have some sort of on-stage audience there, or I don't know if this were being done outdoors, so that the actors could pitch some of it to them. And it would perhaps make it a bit more interesting to play the sermon type speeches that way, and maybe even to have them dragged into the play to play some of these lower class characters. I don't know, it just, it's one possibility. I mean, I quite like allegory, in fact, especially when it has a real sort of intellectual shape. I don't think this is as intellectually complicated as some, but because it's using an enormous number of people. I'd love to know where Lindsay got all these people. I mean, playwrights do often seem to have been the impresario and the director of their own work in this period, so he might well have had to put it all together. But I don't know, I find that what we're being told to look forward to is a parliament of the three estates, which is something I don't think we have had before. I mean, the closest to it would be Bale's play. I think the Three Laws, maybe, if you did that one. In other words, we're going to hear about abuses in the kingdom and correction, and it's all about that. So that sounds like rather hot stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we've got sort of a class warfare in gentleness and nobility but it's not going up quite this high there. That's just sort of landed gentry, merchants and labourers. We're not going all the way up to the king. But yeah, otherwise, have we really had what the title of the play says? I mean, in terms of modern performance, in a sense, the opening, whether the trailer matches the play or gives the audience the right idea, it's not so much an issue, because odds on we wouldn't be able to fit it into the evening itself anyway. It would be a trailer, it would be a separate thing. I don't think it would necessarily be in the whole thing. Sarah, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think we have had a full satire of the three estates yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing if we get that. Presumably we will in part 2. I thought Stephen's point was a really good one. This is a complete play in itself. And how do you do season 2? Well, usually if a drama is really well contained and resolved within its opening season, then there's 2 ways of doing it. You either go back to the same characters and kind of either throw in a new problem for them, or weirdly change their personalities, which is what happens when it goes horribly wrong, so that they start behaving in different ways, which I always hate. The best kinds of follow-ons from something that is actually very resolved within itself is when you actually stick with the same world but start a new plot with new characters. And I'm wondering if I'm kind of hoping that that's where it's going to go. Actually, I'm kind of hoping that the king is going to be a good king now, so maybe he's going to go off and be a really good ruler, and we're going to meet somebody else who is kind of within his kingdom. That's kind of, so it's the same world and maybe some of the same characters, but we actually move the story on into like new protagonists, because I don't see really where else you can go with this as it is, because it has got a very definite shape and it was finished off very tidily. In terms of staging it, what you were saying, Rob, about, do you go big and do it like sort of outdoors in public, or do you kind of keep it small? I think you can kind of maybe do a bit of both, in terms of you keep it small, you maybe streamline in terms of some of the characters, because I feel some of those characters could be combined and streamlined down, so you've got a fairly small cast with some quite good doubling. But you do go big in terms of making it very public. I'd love to see this outdoors, and I mean, you really want to see that. You want to see this with a Scottish cast, in a I don't know, a town, a market square, or an open space in Scotland. It's like we've done this reading to get the shape of the play, and that's really useful, and it's really interesting to see. But like you just want to see this in situ, where it was meant to be performed with actors who kind of can. I'm not saying that that the dialect would come naturally to them, because obviously it's from 1550 or whatever, but like who could actually pick their way through it and give it that robustness, which I think it has. It's just that certainly from my own perspective, me doing a cold read of it as a non-Scottish person, I don't feel I'm doing it justice. So but the potential for doing it as a really big, colorful, robust show, I think is it's definitely there.
Luckily, someone has already done it, and videos are available online. Links will be in the show notes. It's one of those things of going, thank God somebody else has done this massive play, because there's so much stuff. So yeah, the links will be available there. Any final? I've got to close the session. Anything final from Alan?
Yeah, just a thought. I mean, we've done about 16,000 words in the first 2 sessions, which has run probably stage time somewhere around 2 hours. There's about 20,000 left. So, I mean, it's one hell of a long session in the audience.
Yeah, it's an all-day gig. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It's being sold as that. It's not like people are turning up and they're locking the doors. It's that sort of big epic kind of staging that's you're going to be there all day. There will be food. If they supply food and drink, then I have not got a problem. With length. Plus, also, we can cut things, so that's fine, because they're all dead. So, all that remains is to thank all the wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. We will return with another part of the play. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye. Bye. Kiss my...